Welcome back to another episode of Becoming an Online Sales Queen. And in this episode, we're going to dive into something that I never talk about. I never, ever mention this. And I don't know why actually, that's a lie. I do know why I don't mention this. It's because I think you think it's boring. It's because it's been done. This is put out there as Sales 101, Marketing Rulebook, Chapter 1, Page 1, do this thing. The thing I'm going to unpack today may feel to you like something that, you've done ages ago, but I promise you, this really is very foundational work. But I also believe the opposite to most of the sales and marketing gurus out there. Okay. The thing that we are going to talk about today is niche. Okay. You niching down. Now, I do not believe that you need a niche. Okay. And so if you're somebody that's been spending like months, sometimes years. I had a lady say to me once that it had taken her 2 years to nail her niche. That's 2 years that she wasn't making any money. I don't know where she was actually getting her money from, but she can't have been making any money without a niche. And so, yes, niche is important because it informs all of your decisions around your messaging, around how you articulate the problems, the pain points, around how you articulate the solution, the outcome, the transformation that you create. Niche informs so much of the way that we take our product, our service to market. But I do not believe that you need a niche, because what I believe, which is contrary to probably 95% of other sales and marketing experts out there, is that you are the niche. Your programs, your offers, your courses, your services are the niche. You don't have to sit and think, do I want to work with 30-year-old women or 40-year-old women? What if I want to work with men? How am I going to do that? Yeah, what if I want to work sometimes with corporates and sometimes with coaches? How am I going to do that? Well, I can share with you now, right? I support 8 corporate businesses, right? As a coach, as a mentor, right now in my business, I have 8 corporate companies that reach out to me to do all sorts of work with them. Yet if you look at my social, you read my emails, you look at every piece of marketing that I ever create, it's dedicated to me working with women who want a freedom and abundance lifestyle. Those women are usually coaches, mentors, or service providers. Sometimes they work in the beauty niche, sometimes they're a VA, sometimes they're a social media manager. But all of my content is about me supporting women. So why is it that I then still have 8 corporate businesses that I go and do work for? And get this, it's not even sales work. So you hear me talk about sales all the time. And most of the work that those 8 corporate businesses call me in to do is on the subject of leadership. Yeah, it's leadership coaching, it's communication skills, it's resilience at boardroom level. Yeah, it's working with corporate businesses, which is the job that I used to do like back in 2016. I left my corporate career. And so I'm calling on my skills as a corporate leader, as a senior leader in a corporate business. I'm calling on those skills to go in and help those clients. Now, why do they reach out to me? Well, it certainly isn't because of my marketing today. It's because I built my reputation when I first started my business back in 2016, and that's how they know me. And that reputation continues. Some of them see my social media content. They even have a joke about it and say, can we come on one of your retreats, Rach? They think it's hilarious. Yeah, they think it's absolutely hilarious. In fact, I was on a call with a guy. It was a middle-aged man who is in a high sales role. He's a sales leader and leading a sales team, just the same job that I used to do. And he was out and about in his car, about to go off and meet one of his account execs. And we were on a coaching call together, sat in his car. And he had seen one of my posts on LinkedIn that was filled with, female style emojis, like red lips and, like white hearts. And he was like, saw your post yesterday, Rach. It just drives me like wild, like the humor, the things I could bring to our call to wind you up from reading your content, because it feels like I'm reading content from a totally different human, because he sees the corporate version of me, the leader, the high red director, let's manage this £100 million business together. He sees that version of me, not the version of me that is, built and portrayed now on social media, because my brand has changed so much. So that should tell you that niche is important, but it isn't everything. It isn't everything, because once you've built your reputation, your niche can expand. It can expand so wide. You can work with who you want, when you want, where you want, how you want. You can dictate, once you've built your reputation. So if you're at the stage where you've already built a very solid reputation, niche becomes less important. If, however, you are at the stage, and I think this is probably most of you listening to this podcast, if you're at the stage where sales is feeling hard, sales is feeling difficult, and you want to get better at it because you want to sell more of your offers, more of your programs, more retainers, more courses, more of all the things that you sell, niche probably is important. But it isn't because you need to decide whether or not you want to work with 30-year-old women and whether they are mums or busy entrepreneurs. That's not the sort of niche that you need to work on. What you need to work on is this. What is the offer that you sell, and what is the result that it creates? That's step one of figuring out your niche. What is the offer, and what is the result that that offer creates? Step one. And then step two is, once you have defined the specific tangible result that your offer creates, then ask yourself, who gets the biggest benefit from that result? What type of person would get the biggest benefit from that result? And then when you start to think about what type of person would get the biggest benefit from your program, from your offer, then ask yourself, and if that's the result that they want, where must they be right now? So where are they in their problem state? Where are they in the struggle? Where are they in the frustration? Where are they in the pain? Yeah. Niching is not about demographics. It's not about you deciding male or female, how old are they? What city do they live in? That's not niche. That is like 20-year-old marketing. You don't need that shit. What you need is real world, how to sell your offer. And I tell you, this is the way to do it. What is the program? What is the result? What is the offer? What is the result? And then who gets the biggest benefit? And then once you decide who gets the biggest benefit, one type of person, right? Not who gets the biggest benefit. Oh, there's a list of 8. No, that is not specific enough. Who gets the biggest benefit? One type of person. And then you ask yourself, and where must they be right now in their problem state, in their frustration, in their urgency to solve that problem? Who are they today? If that's the outcome they want, and they want it in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, that's obviously the duration of your offer. Where must they be right now? And one thing I like to give my clients as an exercise to do to help them with this is a day in the life. So walk through who your ideal client is right now. So while they're in the problem state, walk through a day in their life right now. Where do they wake up? Where do they go to bed? Picture them in their bedroom. The minute they wake up in the morning, the minute they open their eyes, what are they thinking? What's happening to them? Are their kids jumping over their head? Is there a dog on the bed? Is there a husband? Do they get up and have breakfast? Do they just get their gym kit on and go out for a walk? Do they go for a drive down the beach? What do they do in the morning? Do they have a morning routine? Yeah, where do they have breakfast? Do they drink tea, coffee, matcha? What do they drink in the morning? What are their health habits? What's their health routine, their self-care routine? What does that look like? What time do they start work? When they go to work, where is it? Is it downstairs on their kitchen table? Is it in an office at home? Do they hire an office in a co-working space? Is it in a big corporate building? Where do they work? Do they commute there? Do they drive? Do they train? How do they get there? Picture them moving through their day, their entire day, and ask yourself this: how does the problem that they have, the one that your offer solves, how does it manifest in their day? How does it look? How does it show up? How does it affect them? At what points in their day does it impact them? And when it impacts them, what do they do about it? Do they tell somebody? Do they just sit and have a moan about it? Do they journal on it? Do they need to call somebody? Like, when the problem shows up, how does it show up and what do they do about it? And when you walk through the day in the life of your ideal client in their problem state right now, I guarantee you, you will be able to come up with potent messaging, like powerful messaging that really speaks to the specifics of where your ideal client is now. Because let's be honest, right? The people that say to you, oh, you need to niche, you've got a niche. If you don't niche, you're not going to be able to sell anything. The people that are saying that, they're just trying to help you sell, right? They're just trying to help you to call in more clients. They're trying to help you to have more potent and magnetic marketing and messaging. But actually, in doing that, they're sort of sending you down the wrong path a little bit. They're sending you off to think about demographics. And what you really need to think about is feelings and emotions. Because that's what really matters. People don't buy with logic, they buy with heart. Yeah, they don't buy with thoughts, they buy with feelings. So your messaging has to trigger a feeling, it has to create an emotion. So when you're thinking about niche, it's not about how old are they and where do they live. It's about how do they feel. How do they feel right now in their problem state, and how do they want to feel instead? And of course, then your offer, your program, course, whatever it is, sits in between. Your offer is the vehicle that gets them from problem to solution. Your offer is the reason why the emotion that they don't want turns into the emotion that they do want. The feelings they're trying to run away from suddenly turn into feelings that they're craving, feelings that they're desiring. And that is the power of niche. It isn't about demographics though. So put that out of your mind. What I want you to do is remember, you are the niche. Your program, your offer, your service is the niche. That is where the question begins. What is the program? What is the result? Who gets the biggest benefit from it? Where are they right now in their problem state? Where do they want to be? And how does that feel? And if you find yourself coming up with generic words, like they feel like they're stuck. No, that's garbage. That is generic. They don't feel stuck. Nobody's ever dialed into a sales call with me ever and said, I feel stuck. Nobody says stuck. That's a marketing word. Don't say stuck. Yeah, and also stuck puts them stuck. Stuck says you're no good, you're stuck, and makes them think and feel like they're no good. Yeah, you don't want to do that to your potential new client. You want to empower them, right? So you want to use language, you want to use ways of describing their feelings that are specific, but don't pigeonhole them in the stuck. Okay, so what could that sound like? It could sound like you're sick and tired of feeling da 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 da. Yeah, it could be you're totally over the fact that when you do this, it makes you feel like this. Yeah, you're fed up to the back teeth of hearing da 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 da, which makes you feel da 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 da. Yeah, so like, I want you to imagine, as part of the day in the life exercise that you're going to do, I want you to imagine your ideal client going out for coffee with his or her mates. Yeah, coffee, wine, whatever. Picture your ideal client in a relaxed scenario with somebody that they trust. And imagine that somebody that they trust saying to them, how are you? How's it going? What does your ideal client say back? That's what you need to know. When they're with somebody that they trust, who's asking them for their innermost thoughts and feelings, and they begin to confide in that person about why they feel stuck, about why they feel the way that they feel, it's that confiding language that you need to use in your sales copy. It's when they're sat in Starbucks going, well, you're never going to guess what. My business, I was trying to grow it. I really thought there was a client coming in last week and that would have meant $5,000 hitting my account. Well, it never happened. And now I'm starting to doubt that I can even do this. I'm thinking I might need to start going looking for jobs. And when they're confiding in that person and they're like dredging up their innermost worries, their doubts, their fears, what are they saying? That's the language that you need to use in your problem copy. Yeah, when you are writing copy that empathizes with where they're at, shows them that you get it, that you see them, that's the language that you need to use. And I promise you, if you start using that language in your copy, you will start receiving DMs from people saying, oh my God, you really see me. You really understand me. It's like you are reading my mind. Yeah. So remember everything I've said to you. The day in the life exercise is a really good one. Simple journaling exercise, or, just go and sit in the sun for half an hour, close your eyes and imagine your ideal client walking through their day. Think of problems, think of outcomes, think of things that they want. Yeah. Again, you can picture them sat with that trusted person saying, I can't wait for the time when, I can't wait to be able to, I'm excited so that I can, like what are they excited for? Like, how do they phrase it? How do they phrase the result, the way that it looks, the way that it feels, the way that it's going to sound, the way it's going to show up in their life? Okay. If you do these things, I guarantee you will write better copy. If right now your messaging is a bit lackluster, it's a bit like, bit bland, bit boring, you're not getting inbound DMs, you feel like your content is invisible, you feel like you are invisible, it's probably because of this. And it isn't because you need to go off and work on niche in terms of age and shoe size and city and location and all that stuff. It's because you need to work on the feelings. Okay, I hope this has been really useful. Reach out to me, let me know if you've got any questions. You know, my DMs over on Instagram are always open for you. At Rach Howarth is my handle. I'd love to hear from you. And if you've got any show ideas, then please do reach out and let me know. We've had a couple come in a few weeks back and I'm busy. I've got my iPad here. I'm busy like planning out what I'm going to share in those shows. So, if you've got anything that you want me to cover in this podcast show, then just reach out and let me know. I will see you, Sales Queen, in our next episode.